Hi, everyone. So here's the money episode, the very embarrassing money episode. Also, I want to apologize ahead of time for my voice. I feel like it's almost back to normal, but it still sounds a bit raspy, I think. So I apologize for that. So don't listen to this with headphones. And also, I want to apologize for how this episode might sound. Yes, I still do care about what people think about some things, and money is definitely one of them. I don't want to come off as like some spoiled asshole or, haha, look at me, look at my money, look at what I can buy. Like, I don't want to be like that. I don't even feel like that. So please don't judge me. Because I really don't even want to be doing this episode, but I know I'm not the only one that is irresponsible with money at this age. So that is why I'm doing this, because somebody out there is as well. It's not just me. There's probably a few of you, somebody's out there that just are not good with money. So this episode is for you. And please, once again, I'm not trying to sound gross. Okay. So now that that's out of the way, this is everything I can think of regarding just numbers and how I do not get along with them. So first off, I think I've talked about dyscalculia before. Dyscalculia, I can never say that right. I'm pretty sure I've got that because I cannot do basic math. I'm always making a mistake with the budget. Like, Alicia does the money, like, she does the budget. I just have to keep track of, like, what's coming out of the account, and I have to make sure that, like, I get the bills paid. That's not a problem, but, like, sometimes I have, like, I make mistakes when I'm trying to keep track of, like, the numbers. Sorry for my voice. And she's always okay with it, but it's always embarrassing, and it's always just some dumb mistake that I really shouldn't have been making, but I make so many of them. I'm surprised she lets me have like any access to like the bank accounts because I'm terrible like with keeping track of shit. But not as bad as that just sounded. Anyways, so the very first experience I remember regarding like learning any kind of math, I think I've mentioned that before. It was when I was a kid. Oh, how old was I? I don't even know. I know I was a small child. I like under 10, definitely under 10, maybe 6. I'm so bad with like anything related to numbers, guys. Sorry. But I know I was a kid, and it had to have been before kindergarten or first grade because my mom had bought those little, what were they called? Like, oh God, my memory sucks. It was those, they probably still make them, those workbooks for little kids about like math, and then there was like stuff for like English. So my mom got the ones for math thinking that she was going to teach me how to be good at math before I started like school. And I have no idea if like she had picked up on the fact that I was not good with numbers or what it was, but that's what she decided to do. And I remember we were in the living room. I was sitting at the coffee table on the floor. She was on the couch on the other side, and she's like trying to teach me this shit, and I just wasn't grasping it. And she was not a very good teacher, if I'm honest. Like, she was very impatient. She expected me to understand things like on the first go, and that's not how it goes. So because I was having difficulty picking up what she was throwing down, she would get so fucking pissed. And then I would shut down and I would never learn any math. So that was not a very good first experience with the numbers, but whatever. And then like, I remember the bitch bought me like some little kid cash registers around Christmas. You know, those little toys for kids, like learning how to count money. I wasn't fucking good at that either. And I locked myself out of that register multiple times. So I don't even think it worked properly, but anyways, she was not nice. I remember, like, I don't know why this sticks with me. It is not that big of a deal, but apparently it scarred me when I was in 6th grade. I remember I was in Hawaii I was at a public school. It was right before I went to that private Catholic school. And I remember the class I was in, where I was sitting, who I was sitting behind. Like, I was in the far right row, second from the front. Like, I don't know why this is very, very etched into my memory. But we were doing math, and I was very adamant that 100 minutes equaled an hour, and 60 cents equaled $1. And I kept harping on that because so I know we were in teams, like working with like one or two other people on some stupid math bullshit. And I was with one other person, and I was just like, no, there are 100 minutes in an hour and 60 cents in $1. And the teacher had heard me, and she came over and she was like, you might have that backward. So what is this? Like dyslexia for math or something? I don't know. But that was so embarrassing to me. For whatever reason, I was mortified that the teacher came in, like said that, and that I had harped so much on something that wasn't even true. So I know I was embarrassed, and that's probably why this has just never left my memory. In high school, I cheated my way through math using scientific calculators. I would be like, that was back when they were pretty expensive, so it was not uncommon for kids to share their calculators, and the teachers would even let you do it during tests, which, I mean, that was kind of stupid because I would be sharing a calculator with a friend, and basically she was just writing all the answers on the calculator and then passing it to me. I was copying the answers down and then trying to figure out, like, let me just come up with what the work might look like to get to this answer so that it doesn't look like I'm just cheating. So that's how I passed math in high school. And then in college, it didn't really get any better than that. I took online math the first year, like when you have to take a math course. And I took it online because I knew I was going to be able to pass it, because I would have time to like look things up and all that stuff. And then once I was like toward the end of like my 4-year degree, I was in a stats class, and I pretty much manipulated the teacher into giving me a D, which was passing. I just needed to pass or I wasn't going to graduate. So not proud of it, but that's how I got through math. And here I am now, 40 years old, and I'm still counting on my fingers. So, let's see. I made a little list here to make sure I covered the important things. Let's see. Okay, so this all has to do with numbers, and I'm getting up to the money part. Working my way up to the money part. Time. I have time blindness in some areas, and it's embarrassing a little bit because I pride myself on time management. Like, I'm really good at it. Unless I guess, like, I don't know. I'll overestimate like how long it will take me to get to an appointment. Like, I'll leave and go drive somewhere, and I'll be waiting for at least half an hour before the appointment starts. I don't know if that's necessarily time blindness as much as it is making sure that, like, in case there's traffic accidents or whatever, I've allowed myself the time to get there. But I know I have time blindness when it comes to work projects. I've almost nailed this down, but sometimes I'll get like really big books. Like, I just had one last week. It was the biggest fucking book I've ever had. It was like 200,000 words. And usually I can do 30 to 45,000 words a day when I'm editing or proofreading. So I just kind of applied that math to that amount of words, and that didn't work because the book needed more work than I thought it did. It just, like, I was not good at estimating the time I needed to do the project in. And I underestimated it so much that, like, I was at my computer for 16 hours with only a couple of pee breaks trying to get this shit done. So, that's pretty common for me when it comes to, like, bigger books. I haven't figured that out yet. Yes, I said I still count on my fingers all the time. I use a calculator for everything, even basic math. So if I need more fingers than I have, I will pull out the handy dandy calculator on my phone, and I use it to add even basic stuff like 20 plus like 17. I'll add that on a calculator. Even though I can do it in my head, I'll add it on a calculator because I have proven to myself time and time again that what I think is right in my head actually isn't. So I just use the calculators now because those are almost never wrong. Another thing that has stuck with me, just burned into my memory, is the first time I used a check. Again, like I probably have talked about this stuff before, but I'm almost at 100 episodes. I don't fucking remember everything I've talked about, so sorry for the repeats. But yeah, I was paying for a college class. Like I was out of high school and I was in a year of transition between high school and the military. And at the time I didn't know I was going to go into the military. So I was taking like a couple of college classes on the base, on the military base we were stationed at. And I went with my checkbook to pay for this class, and I realized that my parents never taught me how to use a fucking check. My mom just gave me the checkbook and she's like, here, go take this with you. And then write out whatever amount it is for the class. And I put whatever the line was, like pay to, or I mixed up the who you pay it for and the amount of money that you're paying. I got those on the wrong lines. And I don't know, the lady was a fucking bitch about it because I handed her the check and she's like, no, this is wrong. And I just was mortified because here I was 18 years old and I didn't know how to use a check. And I just thought that was something so basic because back then everybody was using checks. Everybody had a fucking checkbook. Like, debit cards were not a thing. ATM cards were, but debit cards were not a thing. We were all using checks or cash to pay for our shit. So, I was just mortified. I was fucking mortified. And every time I had to use a check since then, that exact situation would pop up in my head. Like, remember the time you fucked this up? Make sure you don't fuck this up again. Because it's embarrassing. Banks scare me. The drive up parts, like where you drive up to the bank. What the fuck are people doing other than using an ATM? Like when you drive up to that window and there's that person in that window, what are you doing that you can't just go inside and do yourself? Like, why do you have to be in the car? Is it the same thing as going through like a McDonald's drive-through? Is that like what a bank is? And you know why I don't know is because I never fucking bothered to figure it out because I don't give a shit. I'm not going to go through a drive-through for a bank and talk to somebody in the window for I don't know what. Like when I'm at a bank, I'm there to use the ATM usually. And I'm trying not to have any interaction with anybody that works in the bank because they'll figure out how fucking dumb I am with numbers. And like Alicia, she's done that before, like driven up, and I don't even remember what she told me she was doing that for. Like, I don't know. What are you doing? Just going to a person and having them do something for you that like the ATM machine could have done? I don't know. But I never figured it out because no, thank you. Like, I'm not going to just roll up there and be like, hey, can you do this for me? I don't know. It just seems embarrassing. I don't even know what happens at those windows. Now I have to go look this up. I'm 40 and I don't fucking know what happens at the windows. What's happening? Are people like cashing checks there or something? I don't know. I need to move on. PIN numbers. Oh my God. So I don't care what the fuck anybody says about your PIN numbers for all your cards should be different and your passwords for all your different accounts should be different. No, mine are all the same. And I will just have to suffer the consequences if somebody steals my identity or my shit is like in a data breach or something. No, I'm just willing to take those chances because I cannot keep track of like multiple PIN numbers because I can barely remember the one that I've used for like 2 decades. I can barely remember that. Like when I go up to the register to pay for something, God, that whole thing is just embarrassing. Like they keep fucking changing those machines up. Like one day it was really easy to just stick your card onto the machine and it was like telepathically like picking up information. But then they changed the machine and now I don't know where to put the card. Like it doesn't tell you where to hold it. Do you know what I'm talking about? This new fucking shit where you just hold the card next to the machine and somehow like it reads it. So like that's difficult for me because I can never figure out where to put the card. And then before I use a card where I have to put the PIN number in, I always say it to myself in my head 3 times first because I don't want to be embarrassed. You know, like, how do you not know the PIN to your own card? Because that has happened before and that is so embarrassing. Everything embarrasses me. But yeah, like PIN numbers are hard for me to remember. So I just use the same one for everything. Same with the passwords because they need numbers for that too. And I don't want to write down my passwords and my PIN numbers. I at least know not to do that. So to avoid doing that, I just try to make them as basic as possible. I probably shouldn't even be talking about that right here. Okay, anyways, moving right along. Money. Okay, now we're at the money section. Oh, God. All right, I was never taught budgeting. So thanks, parents, for never teaching me how to budget. When I was in the military, I was so irresponsible with money because I did not really have any bills. When you're an airman and you live on base, you don't pay for rent, you don't pay for food, you don't pay for electricity, you don't pay for water, you don't pay for trash. Everything's free. At least it was 20-something years ago when I was in the military. It's all free. So that means you have thousands of dollars every month to spend on whatever the fuck you want. And since I came from a family that didn't teach me how to budget, and I'm guessing my mom just gave up because after that whole math thing, she was probably like, good luck to this kid. So I didn't get taught how to budget. And therefore, when I was in the military, instead of saving money like it would be the responsible thing to do, I bought CDs back when that was a thing. I bought DVD box sets back when that was a thing. Like every paycheck, I would go to this one store on base and I would buy, like, I'd walk out with like bags of CDs and DVD box sets and I would watch and listen to all of them, but I wasn't even paying attention to the price tag. I had so many pairs of shoes that I didn't even wear. God, what else? I ordered things like once the internet started becoming a little bit more, I don't know, widespread, I guess, and you were able to start ordering things from stores on the internet, I started doing that. The only time I was able to save any decent money was when I was in the desert. So I was on 2 different deployments, and that was basically the only time I could save money because I literally had nothing to spend it on. Like, there's not thousands of dollars worth of bullshit to spend in the desert when you're on a deployment. So that was pretty much the only way I saved the money. I couldn't buy anything really. Like, what was I going to buy in the desert? All right, so my last deployment, I think I walked out with like 12 grand in savings. And that was when I got out of the military and I became a civilian. And I was pretty stingy, like, as a civilian. I was maybe mid-20s, 23, 24 when I got out of the military. And I was stingy because I didn't know how civilian life worked. And I was super afraid of losing the money that I saved up. So, like, I was so careful with it. I don't know how I was that careful with the money when I'd clearly demonstrated years before that I didn't know how to use money properly. But I was afraid of, like, I had never been a civilian before, so I didn't really know, like, what the life was going to be like. I thought it was going to be pretty expensive. I don't know what I was thinking. My credit card use throughout my life has blown I never got credit cards in the military because I didn't even know what credit cards were until I got out and I was trying to get my first car, and they were like, you don't have any credit. And I was like, well, I haven't needed it, so why is that a bad thing? And they're like, well, you need to show proof that you can, like, pay things off or whatever. And I was like, do you need to see my bank statement? I'll show you the money I have in my bank. Just give me the fucking car. And so I had to get, like, a credit card, and, like, it was just doom and gloom from there, because once I had access to money that I was under the impression I didn't have to pay off right away, I was not responsible with it. Anything you can think of to buy with a credit card, I did. I paid for gas. I paid for food. I had money for gas and food in my bank account, but for whatever reason, I thought it would be more fun to pay with a credit card. I don't know. And, like, it had gotten to the point, what was I, in my late 20s, where I had maxed out. I think I had 2 or 3 credit cards, and I maxed them out. They weren't even a lot. They were like maybe $1,000 on each one, because, you know, they weren't going to give me more money since clearly I wasn't using the credit card properly. But I would max them out, and then I would pay off like $100, and I'd be so proud of myself for having $100 available on a credit card that I would fucking turn around and treat myself to something by buying myself something with that $100. Like, what the fuck? And where am I at with credit cards these days? In a way better position. Okay, I'll say that. Like, Alicia and I have had our issues. We have had to get 2 separate loans out to consolidate our debt. She's way more responsible with money than I am. So the first loan we got out was several years ago. We paid that off. And then we had to use our credit cards again. Like, the pandemic had started, and, like, we needed to have money for different things. And anyways, we maxed out those cards. We had to get another bank loan out to consolidate. And we were doing good up until we started having issues again with our marriage a few months ago. And I was the one using the credit cards. Let's just say that a few days ago, Alicia was like, we need to have a discussion about, like, our savings and, like, the credit card use. And I was just like, here, take my credit cards, and I'm going to go onto the computer and my phone and delete all of the saved information I have for the credit cards so that I have no access to them, because I don't trust myself. Because you know what I've been doing? I've been buying, like, I haven't been using the credit cards for a lot of things, but when I was growing up and my mom and dad would get into arguments, my mom would use those opportunities. She would turn her anger into money, and she would buy herself something, and it seemed to make her happy. So I found myself having picked up that bad habit. And to this day, when Alicia and I get into, like, arguments and I get pissed, I use it to justify, like, buying $100 worth of, like, fancy lotion at this fucking lotion place I like. Like, I will charge it to the credit card and not give a shit. And I'm not proud to say that. And we're not, like, maxed out on our credit cards by any means, but I have been the one that hasn't been responsible with them. So I gave them to her, and I said, please take these and do not give them back to me. I don't know if I'm ever going to be trusted with credit cards again, but I know for right now I cannot be, and please take these. And she did. And she wasn't, like, mean about it or anything. But it's not, like, I'm not proud of that I have to give my wife my credit cards, and because I can't trust myself with them. What the fuck? I don't even really need to use them. That's the thing. Like, I don't know. I have a problem. I'm not addicted. Let me just say this. I'm not addicted to spending, even though it sounds like I am. I do not have a house that would be featured on the show Hoarders. No, there's no paths that you have to make in this house to get from point A to point B. I'm not that bad. I don't have stashes of bullshit. I just have impulsive issues, I guess. Compulsive issues, whatever. Both words, I don't know. Moving right along. Where am I at now? Okay, let's see. I'm going to skip that one because that doesn't apply anymore. I talked about my food kicks that I get on. Like last year, I spent however much on popsicles. This year, I guess it's ramen. And so what I did before I got on here to record is I went on Grubhub and I added up all the money I've spent on ramen in the last 2 months. And this is the ramen like I order from like my favorite restaurant. It's like $13.95 for the actual ramen, and then there's the delivery fee. And then I round up to donate to their cause, not their little, but like to their whatever monthly cause they have, like donate to this children's thing or to the Grubhub fund or whatever. So it's $22 every time I'm ordering ramen from them. And it's so good. Do you know how good it is? It's $940 good, because that's how much I've spent on ramen in 2 months. And that money was not from the credit card. It was from like my savings. Because what I did when I thought me and Alicia were getting a divorce was I took out a $3,000 loan thinking that'll help get me through some months of bills until I can like, make it on my own or whatever. And do you know what I did with that $3,000? I have like $500 left because it went to ramen. It went to lotion and like my body sprays. It went to chocolate. Oh my God. It just is spent on dumb shit. So all I have of that is $500, and I took that loan out and I didn't even use it for what I was supposed to use it for. And I did tell Alicia about that like a week or two ago, when we decided that there's something worth salvaging here. We can fix this. So that's when I told her. She wasn't even mad. I think she probably just wasn't surprised. So, yep, that's where I'm at with that. It's hard for me to save money. I have the ability to save. Like, we make enough money to save. Like, we save for taxes, for my portion of taxes, because I don't have a normal paycheck where it can just get taken out. I have to do it like intentionally every month. And so like, that's not really been too much of an issue. It's just me being able to save money on my own. I just see it sitting there and I'm like, oh, I could spend it on this. And, yeah. I still undercharge for my copy editing and proofreading services. That's embarrassing to say, but I had no idea I had been undercharging until once in a while I would get a client that would be like, are you sure that you do a good job? Because this is all you're charging. And then in my mind, I thought I was charging a lot. And come to find out, it was not a lot at all. And so I struggle with the fucking money in that area too. Like, I think I've got my prices a bit better. Like, my fees are a bit better than they were before. But Alicia is still like, you should charge what you're worth. And I know I'm good at what I do, but do I feel like I'm worthy of getting paid more for that? Nope. So I still have lots of fucking shit to work on in that area. Like, what is up with this, man? Like, I work from home. I need the money, and I'm undercharging for my services. I think sorry if I'm just going all over the place, but yeah, so like, that's an issue for me too. And it's not for lack of trying. Like, I looked on the internet and I have scoured the internet for people who say, this is what I specifically charge for copy editing services, or this is what I specifically charge for this. And I can find like a couple of those, but I can't find like, what is the standard based on my level of expertise and what people are charging on average. I don't know what that is. I mean, I must be charging enough because I'm paying my bills. So, but apparently I could be charging more, which makes me think like, oh, if I could be getting more money, what would I do with the extra money? Would I still buy ramen with it? Probably. I do have thoughts about money that don't pertain to my situation though. Like, there's an imbalance of wealth in the world. Celebrities, athletes, like actors, they should not be getting paid millions of dollars to do what they do. That makes no sense to me. Like, why are we like valuing people like, oh, you're so special because you get paid all this money because you can memorize lines? No. Like, how's that job any more important than a doctor or a nurse or, the ambulance people who save lives? Like, how's that? Why does that justify getting paid millions of dollars for memorizing lines and acting over people that actually save lives? Like, it doesn't seem fair to me. There should be like a fair system of wealth. Like, come on. How are we still living like this? How are actors still getting paid millions of dollars? How is it that like a professional soccer player gets paid all this money just for playing a sport that people like to watch and participate in? Like, I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. It's not fair. There should not be homeless people. That can be avoided. Like, I just don't understand why, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know if that had anything to do with anything, but I just don't think that's fair. Other things I don't understand, the debt ceiling. I don't know what the fuck that is. I have been trying to figure this out for years. I have watched like basic debt ceiling for dummy videos on the internet. I don't understand it. I have watched like specials on TV. I shouldn't say specials. I should just say like a news show because it's the news that they're talking about the debt ceiling. And I don't understand what the fuck that is. I don't get how we're like in debt in the United States. We're in debt. Okay, well, can't we just like create more money? Like, we got paper. Alicia says it doesn't work that way, and I don't understand why. Yeah, I don't get it. In my mind, we have paper, and we can turn paper into money. So why does there have to be a limit on that? Like, that there's a debt ceiling? I don't fucking know what that is. Let's see. Is there anything else I have to say about this? I don't think so. So whatever this is worth, I hope somebody out there can relate. Sorry that I sound, again, like all over the place. I guess that's just what being autistic is. Because I'm all over the place more often than I would care to admit. But anyways, this is my situation with money. Financially, we're doing fine. We can pay for our bills. We're not on like a struggle bus. I'm very grateful for that because it wasn't always like that. Like, I've lived paycheck to paycheck. Like, I've had those experiences. I just don't understand why, like, I view money so carelessly. Like, I don't know. It's just money, which explains why I'm irresponsible with it. But I don't know. I need to work on this. And so the first step I took was giving Alicia my credit cards. She didn't even ask for them. I just handed them over. I was like, you know what? I can admit this now. Here you go. I'm 40 and I cannot use credit cards. Yeah, I don't know what to do about this. Because that would have to involve me caring enough to, I don't know. Because do you know what's fucked up is $940 on ramen in 2 months is fucked up. That's insane. Who spends that much on ramen? And it's not even like I know I can go to the store and buy my own. I can make my own ramen, but I cannot make it like that restaurant. I cannot make it taste just like that restaurant. I don't know what kind of bamboo shoots they use. They're so delicious. I don't know what kind they are or where I would buy them. Their mushrooms are very specific. Their fish cakes taste really good. I haven't found fish cakes that taste that good. The broth, like everything about that fucking ramen, I cannot recreate that on my own, which is why I keep buying it from them. And I told Alicia the other day, this is how ridiculous this is. I told her if they would just fuck it up one time, I would stop ordering it. So I'm sitting here blaming the restaurant for my addiction to their ramen, for my instant gratification issues. Like wanting them to fuck it up, because if they fuck it up one time, it's ruined for me. I'm not trying to sound angry about this because I'm not. I'm just, this happened at another Asian restaurant that I really liked. I ordered not $940 worth of ramen, but I would order from them at least once or twice a month. And they were so fucking good until one time they delivered food that tasted like it had been left out for 2 days and that the person who was on shift cooking was high or something. And I totally was turned off from that restaurant, and I didn't order from them again for at least 2 or 3 years because of that one fuck up, because it just ruined it for me. Like, I don't know what that is, but I'm pretty sure you guys understand what I'm trying to, like, what I'm describing. I don't know why it's like that. Why is it that, like, one mistake can make me not want something for years? Anyways, this isn't really, I'm not talking about anything important anymore. My voice is starting to go, so I guess I didn't get it back as much as I thought I did. I need to go back to work. Oh my God. I have so much to do, but I've been putting off this fucking episode. But I'm irresponsible with money. I'm okay admitting that. I don't always want to be like this. I wish I had the motivation to be better, but I don't. I don't know how to get that. And what is kind of fucked up is I might order ramen again tonight. Oh my God. Because if I'm at 940, I have to get to an even 1,000. No, I just really want the ramen. It has nothing to do with the money. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is a problem. Anybody want to help me with this? What are we supposed to do with our kicks? Like, last year was popsicles, like I said. This year it's ramen. What the fuck is it going to be next year? Okay, I gotta go. Thanks for listening. Hope you can relate. Bye.